Howdy everyone. You can see I've got a stick grip in place. This one is just about finished. I'll come back and talk about that here in a second. I wanted to wrap up the carpet. Last time I left off, I had talked about doing the foam inserts that's underneath the carpet, and I had to cut some holes for some antenna cables and things of that nature. That is all done. The carpet itself is actually now finished. And what I decided to do was, well, first of all, with the padding that's underneath, like I said, the edge of the padding I cut back. That way the carpet itself can have room to stick down underneath this aluminum angle. I've talked about that before. The other side, I cut just so it would lay in nicely. I didn't want it flopping around too much. I didn't want it so tight that you had to like jam it in there. So I just trimmed that enough that it would lay nice. The other thing that I had done, which I'm not going to be able, well, maybe I can. The other thing that I had done, the corner here, this is not focusing. Can't find anything to focus on. It's so dark in here. Yeah. Anyway, it's probably blurry, but the corner right here, the carpet, I cut off. I lopped off this corner to give clearance around this bracket. So I lopped off the corner, and then I had put holes. Get my fat arm out of the way. There's a hole here for this antenna cable to go through. And that was about it. That was all the trimming I had to do, or that's what I chose to do. And what I had done ultimately, and this was a little bit tedious, was I had fit one foam panel at a time to the back of the carpet. So I took this panel out, got it out of the way. This panel here, this foam panel that's underneath here, I took it out, stuck it to the back of the carpet, and then put the carpet in place and just see how it laid. See how the carpet laid with it attached to the foam. And then if this edge here wasn't correct, or if it was too far forward or too far back, I would take it out, rip the foam off the back, reposition it, stick it back on, put it back in the plane, see how it fit, take it back out, readjust it, put it back in. Once I got this outer panel the way that I wanted it, with the carpet to lay the way that I wanted it, then I did this other side. So now the carpet is stuck to both panels. And I positioned the panels, there's a stringer down the middle. I positioned the panels so that they would basically hug that stringer. So now with it in place, since the pads are basically hugging that stringer on both sides, the carpet can't move. So I'm not going to worry about putting Velcro between the pad and the aluminum floor. Now that it's one unit, it's a lot more solid with the foam attached to the backside of the carpet. It's nice and rigid and solid. So this actually comes out in and out really easily. Even though I'm tucking it underneath this angle, it comes out really nice. I can't do it at the moment because I've got my antenna cable connected. But I just wanted to wrap that up. So here's the final product. I don't know how well this will show because it's a little dark down in there, but obviously this is the passenger carpet. And then over there is the pilot carpet. And it had come out really nice. So then next up was, like I had talked about, working on the control stick grips. This one is now done except for the push to talk button, which I'm going to work on right now. Couple of things. One, like I said, I've waited on doing this because I wanted to have the actual seats in, and I wanted to sit in them and kind of get a real-time feel for how tall or how short I wanted this to be. And I also wanted to orient the grip that made sense. So you can see that this grip is not, what do I want to say? It is not facing fore and aft. It's not down the axis of the fuselage. It's clocked this way quite a bit. It's probably almost a 45-degree angle turned counterclockwise. And I did that because when I'm sitting in the airplane, just the natural bend of my arm, it made sense to have the grip in that kind of an orientation rather than having it like this and having my wrist jacked. It's just a nice natural grip this way. So I went ahead and rotated it till it was, in a comfortable position, and that's where it's permanently attached. The length is basically, I have heard stories about Vans has designed the length of this stick specifically for feel of the airplane. I know a lot of people, most people will cut these down short because it feels good and it looks better. I get that. But I've heard stories of people flying those airplanes and they're a little bit more of a challenge because you've got the short throw and it makes everything a lot more sensitive. Don't know if that's true or not. I personally like things to be more sensitive. I don't like having to move controls around, like a World War II type of plane where you really got to throw it around. I like more of the really tight. But since I've never flown, well, I shouldn't say that. Now I have a couple of hours in RVs, but obviously I can always make the stick shorter. That's my point, right? So what I did was the pilot stick is all attached and it's a certain length. I basically kept that overall length. So rather than sticking the grip on top of that, I removed the section of the stick and put the grip in its place. So the overall length from the top of the grip down, that overall length is the same as what it was without the grip, if that makes sense. And it's comfortable. When I sit in the plane and I have my arm on the grip and I'm sitting in the plane, it's comfortable. It's a little tall, but I'm okay with it because if I need to, a couple of screws, pop the push to talk switch off, take off some screws, cut the stick shorter, put it back together. Another thing that I had done, I'll use this as an example. This is the passenger stick. Like I said, since that stick is all attached, I didn't want, when I did my drilling of the holes, I didn't want all that debris going down the stick and down into the floor area down there, because I also have my seat pans on it. I can always take the pans off to clean in there, but I've already done all that. When I drill the holes, I didn't want all those shavings falling through the stick and getting down in here, so I stuffed this with cotton below the holes. And then after I got the holes drilled, got the stick cut, got the holes drilled, I just vacuumed out the carpet and it pulled all the debris and everything with it. So keep that in mind if you go this route, if you do your drilling and everything in place and you don't want a mess down here, just stuff this with, you could probably use rags or something, but cotton worked really well, and then the vacuum just sucked it all back out. So next up is going to be the push to talk lighted switch. I'm going to do that now, and then once that's complete, I'm going to put the grip on the passenger stick. This is going to be a lot easier because the stick is removable, so I don't need to clock it yet. It can just go on here. I'm going to come up with some kind of a mechanism so you can attach and detach this stick. At that point, I'll have to worry about clocking, but for now, I just want to get the grip on. So I'll get moving on these couple of items, and I will talk to you guys later.